Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As always, we're going to do a step-by-step painting today, but before we begin that, I just want to go over these brushes. Now everybody's been going crazy sending me messages and asking about these brushes. Now they are really cool, and again I'm going to mention one of my lovely subscribers sent them to me in the mail, so thank you so much, Christy. I have never used brushes like this before. They're really cool. If I saw these at the art store, I'd never think to buy them because they're called chalk brushes, and I don't use chalk, so I just thought that they wouldn't really work well for acrylic, but they're amazing brushes, you guys. And this is all it says, Chalk Mountain brushes. I don't have a link. Christy told me that they're at Walmart, so they come in a set of 3 or 4, I'm not sure. But these are the ones that she sent me that I have, and I'm having so much fun painting with these. So if you guys want to check them out, Chalk Mountain brushes, Walmart. Other subscribers are telling me that they found them online. If you guys have any links, go ahead and add them to the comments below this video and help other artists out there find these brushes, because they're super for blending and making those big puffy clouds and big skies. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this painting, guys. Okay guys, so let's go ahead and get started on this. Black canvas, 20 by 22, double primed with black paint. Getting all the colors out right now, and I will list them below in the description of this video. So I'm going to take my large brown chalk brush, it's 2-inch, get a little bit wet. I'm going to pull into all those colors and just start lightly twirling my brush around to create this pretty sky. Turquoise, phthalo blue, titanium white, a little bit of that ultramarine blue, and just blend them all together. Taking a little bit more of the ultramarine blue now, I'm going to make this area a little bit darker. A little bit more blue. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of yellow and change the tone up slightly down here, where it's going to be just behind the fire. I want it to be a little bit more green behind the fire because with that neon red, of course, they're complementary. And I just want to create a nice soft yellowy turquoisey green glow right here. You can spread the paint around however you like. I'm just having fun with this brush. I'm going to switch over to my large angle brush. A flat brush works fine for this as well. I'm going to mix up turquoise, yellow, and white and make this slightly brighter and just kind of wiggle and blend it around. So remember, as the paint starts to dry on a black canvas, it's going to look slightly darker. So that's why I wanted to make it a little bit brighter there. I'm going to get my Mars Black out now and my large fan brush, and I'm going to start adding a big tree on the left side. Getting a little bit wet first, wiggling and loading both sides. I'm going to be very generous with my paint, and on a slant, a slight slant here, I pull down the tree trunk, and then I'm starting with the corner of my brush for the small branches. And at this point I wasn't sure if I wanted to see the top of the tree, so then I decided to change it and make it a really big tree starting right from the foreground, and we can't see the top of it, it just goes right past the canvas. So I'm just tapping, pushing and tapping, loading my brush up quite a bit. I want this to be a dark silhouette and have a lot of contrast. Now the paint underneath is a little bit wet as I get down here towards that light yellowy green. So I just let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back to it later, I think, and just add some more black if I want. We'll see how it dries. And then I just want to have a few little suggestions of maybe some tents or some little cabins back there. So that's what those other kind of blobs are. With my angle brush or flat brush, you can use either or. I'm going to begin the rocks and the flames a little bit. So we've got wood and some rocks down here at the base. And so I've got yellow ochre that I'm going to mix with a little bit of white and black and use that for the light that's hitting the little stones and some of the logs. And they're kind of like rectangular shapes and square, but a little bit rounded at times too. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine blue and add that in and around the logs. Okay, I'm going to begin taking neon red, white, and lemon yellow, not really mixing them together. I want to get that kind of different variation of colors in these flames as I pull and twist my brush around and add it to the canvas. That way it looks more natural and you get little swirls in there and a neat kind of flame and fire pattern. And then I'm going to pick up more white at times where I want the flames and the fire to be really, really bright. I can wait for that to dry a little bit later and then add more yellow on top. And I'm kind of turning my brush over at times, if you guys notice, and using it sort of like a palette knife. That's so that I get some neat light hitting those rocks and I'll still get that texture and that pattern on the stones and the rocks below, as well as the logs and the sticks in the fire. And here I'm just kind of adding to what I think might be little cabins or tents back there. I was going to make it water below and add a reflection in there, but I kind of just play around with it. So just keep your options open. You guys can do that as well. And here you see me picking up more red, turning my hand over on that brush, using it like a palette knife, lightly pulling and dragging and barely touching the canvas. So what I want to do with these flames is keep them bright yellow, slightly white inside, and then around the outside have that fiery red, kind of orange. Now if you have neon orange and you don't have neon red, that works fine too, or really you don't need neon paints at all. You can use any red, orange, yellow that you have and it'll work just fine. So I'm just going to keep adding to this, building it up, having little spaces in between where it's almost like little sparks, or there's just little breaks in between those flames. So this was actually really fun painting to work on. If you guys notice with my videos lately, I'm really getting out of my comfort zone and trying to bring you guys some new and interesting content, some different subjects to paint. I think I just need a little bit of a break from all those fantasy types of paintings I was doing. I'll definitely go back to them, but you know, we all just kind of need some breaks at times, and we need to switch things up. So that's what I'm going to be doing in the next few videos. And this one, like I said, was really fun. It reminds me of when my kids were little and we would all go camping together and sit by the fire at night making s'mores and listening to music, and it just brings back some good memories. So that's a nice thing to have when you're painting or creating something, if it invokes positive feelings and memories. So I'm using the corner of my brush here at times just to make some finer details, skinnier lines, and little dots and dabs for some sparks coming out of the fire. And I'll also switch over to a liner brush or a round brush. Anything that's a little bit pointy on the end works well, using the yellow, the white, a little bit of neon red, and some yellow ochre at times. Now I didn't use very much yellow ochre for the flames. I used that more like specifically for some of the logs and those stones down below. And what I'm going to be doing is to create those little finer dots and dabs and little sparks coming out from the fire, I use my old crafting toothbrush, just an old toothbrush, for creating snow and stars, and I use that here for these little sparks coming out of the fire, which is really cool, and I'll show you guys here in just a second. So I'm going to soften some of these flames here at the top and softly scumble off with a damp brush and make it look a little bit hazy and smoky up here. Blend that out, clean my brush, and then I'm going to switch over to my both blues, Phthalo, Ultramarine, or Cobalt. Little bit of white just so that it shows up, and make this a deeper, darker, stronger intensity blue up here at the top. Just for a little bit more of a contrast. And these colors are really complementary too. I was on the fence about adding purple. I still could. I'm still thinking about it. But it does look nice how it is just with the blue and the turquoise. So we're switching over to my round brush. It's kind of like a thick liner. So either one would work just fine. And I'm coming in with my Mars Black for some more contrast, little lines, shadows, sticks, and edging around those rocks. And I'm going to add little dabs on some of the branches on the tree too, just to make some of the ends of them look a little bit rounder and fuller. I didn't want the ends of the branches on the trees to look too wispy because the fire is wispy, so I wanted to break up those different shapes and make that tree a little bit more round. Alright, so it's time to get out my old toothbrush. You can see it's well used, and dipping it in a lot of water, white, yellow, and red. Get it really loaded up. Then you're going to turn it over. Place your finger on the bottom, aim for the painting, of course. Be very careful where you aim it, and just start spraying and tapping for different sizes of little dots. And this technique works really well for creating like galaxies and snow in a beautiful wintry scene. Now I'm taking my liner and I'm making different kind of shapes, so they're not going to be perfect round little dots, right? So they're just like little sparks and things kind of coming up from the fire. So you'll have little lines and just kind of little blobs. So I'm just going to pull and flick and twist my brush to create some smaller, shorter little flames down around the base on the left and the right, keeping it nice and bright in the middle and pulling and swirling with white. I'm taking just straight white there, and then it's mixing in with a yellow. Then I go back for a neon red and pull that around more of the outside and the tips of those where the flames end. Just going to add a little bit more to these stones down here now. Remember, you can use yellow ochre, you can use the colors that you used in the fire, you could even use a little bit of gray, mix that Mars black with some white. Now I'm going to take a clean brush, yellow, white, turquoise, and I'm just going to add a little bit of light. Maybe the moon is out somewhere and it's just casting a little bit of light on some of these branches. I'm going to soften them off here in a little bit. So just lightly blending, being mindful of any paint on that tree that might be wet. I don't want to pick up any of that black. I'm going to take more of my light turquoisey, a little bit of white, maybe a little bit of yellow, and start playing around with the sky and having some fun. So I'm going to keep these lighter colors towards the bottom and just wiggle around with my round brush, a liner brush as well, and then taking my large angle brush. It's a little bit damp, but it's definitely not dripping. I just need it to be a little bit wet so that I can pull and manipulate this paint around just a little bit, giving it that soft, wispy, uplifted look to those clouds and sky. So I feel like there's a lot of movement in this painting, and I'm really starting to have fun at this point, especially when I begin to come in with a little bit more blue. The blue is just setting off that turquoise and all of the red and the yellow and the orange. So I'm just going to carefully come in here with a few more little wiggles, wiggly lines, little tiny scoops. Again, just turquoise, white, a little bit of yellow. You can just use straight turquoise if you want. And I'm going to keep the left side in line with the right so that they sort of line up. And then here I'm going to take my ultramarine blue with a little bit of white. And I love this blue right here. I love how this looks. It's so complementary with the flames because there's so much orange in there. And I'm just going to add a few more little dots. Yellow and white. Don't forget to add a few little lines. That also helps to create the movement in the flames. And I'm picking up a little bit more white with my yellow and turquoise down here, making it a little bit brighter than the rest. So I just want it to gradually get darker. Add a little bit more of my red around here. And it's pretty repetitive what I'm doing right now with the fire. I'm just going to keep adding contrast, shadow with that Mars black where I think I need to, and then come in with more red in between some of those rocks. I've got a little bit of yellow ochre on my brush right now. I'm just trying that out and seeing how that might work with this painting. And then later I'm going to go back and add some more yellow And I'm using lemon yellow. It's closest to neon yellow that I can get right now. It's a really, really great yellow. And just keep building this fire up a little bit at a time. It's just about done. I'm kind of playing with the left side down here next to the fire. Not sure if I want it to have like a beachy feel to it, or if I want to just keep it stones and dirt all around. I kind of just leave it up to your imagination by the end of this. You don't really know what's there. It's kind of dark, but there's like a hint that there might be sort of a beach in there. I'll leave that up to you guys. And certainly you can make yours a beach when you create your own. Have fun with your paintings and your interpretations of mine. Really use your imagination, you guys, and if you have an idea, definitely try it. Don't worry if it doesn't work out, if you're not happy with it. It's just a painting. And the nice thing about acrylic paint is that it dries so fast. You can paint over it if you're not happy with it, or just come back to it the next day. And sometimes you just need to sleep on it, look at it in the morning with fresh eyes, and see where you possibly need to fix something or paint over something. Or sometimes you surprise yourself and you don't like it when you initially first paint it, and then the next day you look at it again and you're very happy with how it's turned out. I'm just going to add a little stick right here, and it's all those same colors. It's going to be burning and having those little embers on it, the red, the yellow, a little bit of white, and then some black for some shadows. Okay, so as I'm finishing up this painting, I decide to add some of my ultramarine blue for some interesting shadows in between the black. That's also nice. You don't have to use straight black for your shadows. Get out of your comfort zone, think outside of the box, and choose some different tones for your shadows, guys. Not just straight black. Not everything you paint has to be in full contrast, or you can still create a lot of contrast with different colors. Same that goes for your highlights as well. Like, you don't need just straight white. Don't think of just adding straight white for your highlights. Think about tinting your whites, tinting your blacks. It will really make your painting stand out a lot more, and colors will play on each other, and you'll be a happier painter anyways, because it's always fun to use more color, isn't it? So I'm just about finished this painting, and I'll see you in a couple minutes at the end of this video, guys. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. I'll see you next time very soon in a brand new video. Bye!